everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This is Ingrid Kerzinger with the Positive Impact Project. Today I'm here with Psychic Medium Diane Gremmel, and she's going to be talking to us a little bit about her life and her work and share with us some insights about living a life as a medium. So tell us a little bit about what you do right now in your work.
I would say I've been known as a psychic and medium for many years, but I would say 90% of the readings I do are medium readings for people who've lost a loved one.
Okay.
And it's pretty simple, which is that if they bring an object, it helps. I will hold the object, focus on the energy, and names will come to me sometimes. Other times it is words, feelings, pictures, and everybody has a different way of interpreting things and understanding things. So it's a three-part conversation between me, spirit, and the person sitting in the chair, because some things will mean nothing to me that means something to them.
That's great. So how long have you been doing this work?
I had my first psychic experience as a child, and I've been doing it full time over 20 years. So this has been my only means of support for that time.
Wonderful. So tell us a little bit about that, about how you got into it.
Right after college, when I was in my early 20s, I worked at a series of sales jobs, marketing jobs, and I wasn't really happy doing it, but I knew I was a creative spirit. I just didn't know how I was supposed to channel that energy. And I found it interesting that I managed to get a reputation without wanting to for doing things. So people would come up to me and say, am I going to have a boy or a girl, because I heard you could tell me. And it's interesting that even very left-brain skeptical people started coming up to me and saying, is my boyfriend going to propose? And I thought, maybe this is telling me something. Maybe this is what I should be doing. So
the opportunity started coming at that point. So you were telling me earlier about some experiences you had that had to do with love. Right now, Valentine's Day just passed, but I also feel what's in the air right now, a lot of people either sad because of Valentine's Day.
And what I want to remind people is and I get this reminder too sometimes, all of our loved ones still love us. They're still with us. And that love is not vanished from our life. It is not as obvious. And the story I was telling Ingrid earlier was that about the time I moved back to Houston in 1996, I had a friend named Kenny, and Kenny was a coworker, and I loved him with all my heart. He would bring me coffee. He seemed to have an idea when I was feeling down or blood sugar was low, and he'd slip a candy bar on me. Just a good friend. And not too long after I moved to Houston, he sent me a beautiful card covered with roses and a great big cat, because he knew I like cats. And he was so happy because his family was back together. He'd been having a lot of problems, but he and his girlfriend and the baby were all happy, and they had a picture of how wonderful life was, and it made me just happy for him. And unfortunately, not too long after that, he passed away. But cut to about 5 years later, it's one of those Valentine's days that all of us girls have, where someone broke up with us shortly before Valentine's Day. You know that one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we all do. And I had a guy actually tell me that that's a thing they do. So.
Well, it saves them on some money buying those flowers, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, more than that, it saves them having to be mushy and.
That's true.
So
go deeper.
Whining and feeling sorry for myself and thinking, poor me, I don't get any flowers, no one loves me, it's Valentine's Day. And I walked into my apartment where I live by myself. And on the counter, as you walk in, I see this card. It has been up on my shelf in my bedroom, all my old cards and pictures for years. And somehow it is now sitting out on the counter there for me to look at and say, oh, roses on the card. Oh, someone said, love Kenny on the card, meaning that love is a friendship love, but it was no less of a love than any other form. And the miracle for me was that even as a medium, I was forgetting our loved ones. we've all lost loved ones that some of us have lost the loves of our lives to death. Some of us have lost our sisters and brothers, our friends, our parents. But to remember they're still there and they're still connecting and loving us is just one of the greatest gifts that we can get from mediumship.
Definitely, and you help people to connect with that in your work.
I do my best.
Because I know there's so many who have those questions and are seeking, and a medium is a perfect person to help bridge that gap, be the medium between the two worlds.
Yes, and I don't know how you feel about it, Ingrid, but one of the things I tell people is we all want proof. We all want some information, and should look for some information that there is no other way that the medium could have gotten it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's important. But what I think is equally important is to walk in with an open mind and don't have an idea that if they don't say razor blade, that's not my loved one. Or if they don't mention the Jungle Book, it's not my loved one. Because that is trying to control the reading. Do you agree?
Definitely.
And
I find just
we're
being open is
we
better.
are receivers. We are radio receivers. And whatever it is that we can receive, we're going to give you. And sometimes it's what you want it to be. And sometimes Uncle George from Cleveland drops by unexpectedly, just like he did in life.
Definitely.
So
that happens.
I think to know that anyone in spirit is still with you, is still communicating with you, still loving you, is the message.
Right.
That is the message.
I had a lady in one of my classes, psychic development classes recently, who I had them do readings for each other, and she said, "Oh no, so-and-so showed up. Like, I didn't want that person."
That's okay.
And that is the person that wanted to make amends.
Right.
That she needed.
And that's what people have to realize, that a medium is a radio receiver. When, whoa, I can't talk. When you are in a position to deliver the message, you don't control the message. And so the sitter needs to realize that sometimes that is the person who was either best able to connect, or that is the person who needed to connect.
Right. Sometimes I see a line out the door of people like all wanting to talk, and it's
That's
like, I only have time for one person.
Uncle
So
George,
whoever is quicker,
Yes.
jump in that seat. Well, tell us a little bit right now what you do, offer, how people can reach you.
Okay, my website is www.dianegremmel.com, and I do readings. I'm a pretty simple, don't travel a lot, go to my office, do readings for people. My office is in the West Chase District in Houston, easy to find. I also do readings over the phone. I teach classes, I teach psychic development, and that's something I usually have a waiting list for, because it is, as you know, a very popular thing, and I'm so happy that so many people are trying to learn to use their abilities.
Yes, and it's definitely a new time, a new age, and we just really need that right now. We really need more teachers and more leaders, guides, for this huge awakening that's happening right now. And it's not that easy to find. There's not that many of us out there, so hopefully that's going to just get them all rolling.
And what I try to remember is this, that I'm not everybody's cup of coffee, and neither are you, that there are people who really, what they want when they get a reading is to hear a tall, dark, handsome man is coming into your life, and there are readers out there who will give them just that.
Yeah.
But you're right, for people who are looking for something that is real, something that is somewhat subjective but still provable to them, you have to look pretty hard.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah, and I feel like this show, the Positive Impact Project, has helped to put a lot of people into light, who they are, a deeper sense of them, so that when you're trying to search for somebody in particular, you get a whole list and you can't tell.
But you can get a feeling by watching somebody. Is this somebody I communicate with, or is this somebody that I feel comfortable with?
Right.
And that to me is the most important thing, is that they do feel comfortable. Because I've had people come in shaking and I'm not sure I'm supposed to do this, and I'm really nervous, and the important thing is if they can relax and enjoy the process, it will be a good reading.
Right. To enjoy everything, I hope.
Yeah.
Everybody should just enjoy life.
Yes. Be be in the
So
moment.
there's no test. There really is no test at the end. We just need to just do our thing.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about moving forward. If you have something in the works, something that maybe they can come to.
I do a lot of writing projects, and I write a lot of articles, and I keep having people say, when are you going to put a book together? And I just keep feeling like I'll know when the time is right. So it's not finished by any means.
Okay.
But I tend to, whatever life offers me, if someone, I don't pursue it, but if someone says, come speak at our temple, I do. If someone says,
Come on the Pit Project.
I do. If someone says, talk to this TV station, I do. And that's always been my deal with the universe, is if the opportunity to talk to people presents itself, I'll do it.
That's awesome. Yeah, just to be open, and then that when you open that door, there's so much that can come both ways, and
right.
That's great. Well, you're psychic, so
I
need to do this.
I did find this place today.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, do you have classes, something that's coming up that's maybe?
Well, I do have a series of classes coming up for March. That's a beginning psychic development class. It is almost full, so anyone interested, please feel free to email me at www.dianegremmel.com.
Okay.
Again, we are almost full, but I keep my classes to usually somewhere between 8 and 14 people, because I want to make sure that everyone gets individual attention.
Yes.
And this is going to be a smaller class, so
Great.
hopefully everyone will feel like they're getting one-on-one help. And that's what I try to do, is simply help each person realize what their particular gift is, because some people are wonderful with prediction but not very good as mediums. Other people are great at doing relationship readings, and other people are wonderful astrologers, and helping people to find what their particular gifts are is what I do, and then develop them.
That's great. So check out her website, dianegremmel.com, if you want to learn more about what she's doing and what's coming up for her, or to contact her. Thank you so much for being on the show today. This was wonderful.
Pleasure. This was fun.
Is there anything else that you would want to share as far as a tip, maybe psychic development, something quick for our audience?
I've got a better tip, a tip for depression. Okay. I know a lot of people I've talked to recently. 2016 was a very, very, very hard year for a lot of people, and myself included. I lost 8 loved ones during that time, and so you have to sometimes sort of buckle down and deal with feeling down. But what I notice is that a lot of times feeling depressed accompanies feeling powerless. We have no power in the universe to control anything. So I ask people to remember that to the person who has no money, the person who has $1 is rich, right? So if you are feeling so down that you can't motivate yourself to do anything, find a way to use what power you have. So if you see someone who is elderly and lonely and struggling with their groceries and you help them, you have just been the most powerful person on the planet to them. If you see someone who is having a bad day and feeling ignored, and you say, you have such a beautiful dress on, wow, I wish I had your taste in clothes, you have just given someone a piece of themselves that is very positive. And again, you have made yourself one of the most powerful forces in the universe.
I love that.
Whenever we are able to give love to someone in any form who is also struggling, we are using the most powerful force on the planet. So having dealt with depression myself, that's one of the things I always try to remember, is that you will always feel better after reminding yourself of your own power. And your own power is strongest when you are using love to
and help others.
Yes.
Shine that light.
Thank you for finishing that sentence, because I was sort of floating out there.
I think we both got wrapped up in that great feeling.
Yeah.
I just felt the love come out.
It
Thank
does.
you. I needed that. It just lifted the whole room.
One of my favorites is if there's a new mother with a baby and they've got a 2 or 3 year old. notice the 2 or 3 year old, because that 2 or 3 year old is not the one getting noticed right now. And so to tell them, you know, you're an awesome big brother, or, you know, you really look like a smart young lady. Telling them that is important because, again, you are really getting in touch with the real power that you have on this planet.
And along the same lines, a lot of people out there, they compare themselves to someone else, whether it's a sibling, even when they're not little. So when you do that, when you look at them and see them and say something to them that's just for them, it does drop that. It does drop that comparison going, you know what, I'm pretty cool too. So it works on every age.
And if you're one of those people comparing yourself to a sibling or a friend, it also reminds you, hey, I'm not too shabby. Sorry, camera guy. that I'm one of those people who's also in the world to help people and to make it better.
Yeah.
So use your power.
And that everybody has that ability. It's so simple. But we have to remind each other, you know?
Yeah.
We have to remind each other.
And it makes a difference.
Well, thank you so much for being on. Again, thank you all for watching. If you have any questions for Diane after the show, just feel free to email her directly, dianegremmel.com, or into our Positive Impact Project, and we'll see if we can get an answer for you. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys had a great week. Let that love keep flowing through after Valentine's Day. We need that all year round. Thank you so much for being on. Bye, guys.
It's been a pleasure. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.